Well, it's October already. I can't believe how quick the year's starting to pass now. But we are now into aster season, fully into aster season. So the name aster is no longer applicable to some of the plants that used to be known as asters. Instead, the boffins have decided they're going to change the names yet again, and this time it's been changed to Symphyotrichum. So today I'm going to take you around my asters. We'll call them asters and Symphyotrichums as we go around, and you'll forgive me for flipping from one to the other. But sometimes it's easier to say aster, isn't it? So I'll go through the ones that I've got. Now, this is a massive family of plants, and I've got the plants that I'm attracted to, but there are many, many more that I could get, and I've had to restrict myself because there are so many good cultivars out there. So I'll show you the ones that I've got here at Grassy Bottom that I can talk about and know that they're good doers, even though one or two of them have only been in just a year. Now this one, I really like this one. It's got a lovely colour. It's got that yellow central, would you call that a cone? I guess you'd call that a cone. And then the purple almost a purple blue, I think, anyway, looking at it in this light. They always change as in accordance with how the sun's shining on them. So today I'm calling that a purpley blue. Now, this particular one is called Marina walkonsky. And what you'll find with a lot of these types of plants is that they have a bit of an annoyance, really, that they tend to flop around a little bit, even though they are strong plants when they're growing. Now, one way to prevent them being so floppy is to actually cut them back by a third halfway through the year as they're growing. And that would just make them shorter plants and probably produce more flowers. But to be honest, you don't need to produce more flowers because these are laden with them. And that is part of the problem, because they become too heavy for themselves, as you can see from that. But I don't mind that. If you put these in between other plants, it often helps to support them. So you can see this side is being supported by the persicaria behind it. And it really does help. But I don't think it really matters. If they come onto a path like this one's doing, it's easy, you can just clip them back in. And sometimes I do just that, I chop them back in. So that's Marina walkonsky, and it is really a nice one. And when they're blowing around like this, it's nice to see. So bees and butterflies, love them. And they're on them all the time, and not today because it's a little bit too windy. We tend to find that butterflies don't tend to come out in this type of weather. They get blown around too much, although having said that, we'll probably find one. But the bees definitely do. They're always on it and always getting nectar off them. So it's a good plant to have, and we're in, what we're in now, October, beginning of October, so it's offering lots and lots of food for the pollinators. So that's Marina walkonsky. Now I have to say that this one is a particular favourite of mine. And the reason I like this one is because it has this black stem. And it's lovely. And again, it has this sort of mauve colour, I guess. So this is quite a nice colour that a lot of them tend to have. But not all of them, in fact, very few, have this black stem, as with this one. And this particular one is Symphyotrichum calliope. Really good one. Now this is very sturdy as well, but it can be blown by the wind and blown over by the wind, and it is here. Now I've actually given this a little bit of support at the base because from previous years it's been blown over in excessive winds. So I've got a little bit of a wire support there. Nobody can see that. So it looks like it's holding its own, but it's not. It's not. Now I've had this one up to 7 foot. Last year it was in a different location, and I guess the soil was a bit too fertile for it, and it grew up to 7 foot, which was great. But then later on I had to tie it up because it just kept blowing over. Nevertheless, a great plant. I really like this one down here as well. And I guess most Symphyotrichums give you a kind of a wild look. So if you're into your wildlife garden, This is probably the one to go for, or Symphyotrichums. So I'd rate this one, Calliope, as possibly my favourite, based on the black stem. So this one is Symphyotrichum, and it's herb stitchney. I never get that name right. It's a bit hard to say. It's a bit of a tongue twister. It's a pure white one, this one, with the yellow central cone on it. Quite nice. I like this one. And I like this one because of its colour. There's a few white ones out there on the market, but I came across this one down in Norfolk and it's great. But again, we have this constant problem with these types of plants where they simply flop a little bit, but the stems are so strong. And it is down to the flower, the amount of flowers they produce. But that is a really nice one to put into your border because whites tend to stick out a bit, and it's better never to put too many white plants in your garden because they can dominate very quickly. This one is Alma Potched, and it's actually got more of a name than that, and I will put it up onto the screen so you can get the full name. It's quite a mouthful as well. And this is a really bright pink one, and I love this one. For someone that doesn't like blousy type flowers, and by that I mean bigger flowers, I quite like this one. Pink as it may be, I like it. It's nice. It stands out a mile as well. It gets taller than this. It's very short this year, but I put it in quite late from a small clump. And as you can see from this, because it is smaller, it's definitely holding its own. It's not flopping at all. So as I said, if you can cut them down at the beginning or mid-season, they'll hold their own. So this one I've had over the years. I've had it in many gardens and always enjoyed the bright pink, really. So, I mean, look at it, it just stands out a mile. So that's Alma Potch, a real nice one if you like pink. Now this one is described as having a flower that's purple red tinged, and I guess so. I kind of go on the deep side of pink, me, but we'll go along with what they're saying about it on the description. And this particular one is being sold as Aster, the New England Asters. So this is described as having a purple tinged red, but actually it's more of a deep mauve pink to me. And this is James Ritchie, and again it has the usual yellow centres, as a lot of them do, and it's wonderful, and it's sat beneath a tree, and I like it. And this one seems to be holding its own a little bit better. Now if you really don't like the plants flopping, it's better to get some sort of support early on, and you can buy supports that they can grow up and through that will sort that problem out, because I'd rather not clip them down at all. I'd rather them get to the size they're meant to be, and the best way for me would be to either support them or to put them in between other plants that will support them, as we saw earlier on. And this is beautiful. The colour is just amazing, and it doesn't always do justice seeing them through the film, but you know, it is what it is. This one's a more later edition, and this is, I believe, still being called an Aster. This is very small, and it's called Aster Novae Belgii Dandy. So if you're looking for something a lot smaller, that's the one to consider. So some Asters are still Asters, as I said earlier in the film, this being one of them. Some of the reclassifications actually put these ones in a classification called Europaea. And this one's Hervii, and it's a very small one. It's more wilder looking, this one, very wild actually. So this would look good in a wilder garden, and this one's pretty much over already. And I must point out that this is a bit of a spreader, so when you're planting that one, just be careful where you put it. And this is again another one of my favourites, as they all are. And this one is still Aster, and this is Aster fricatii Monk. And there are several cultivars very similar to this. There are some improvements supposedly on this particular one, although I'd find that hard to believe. There's 3 plants here, so this is why it's making such a big clump, but I guess over time it would make this size anyway. And these are very stiffly upright. They don't really require any holding up at all. Although that one appears to be falling over, you've got to remember I've removed a plant from there, so I caught it, and that's what's caused some of the damage there. And it has a long flowering period, which I really like. So that's Asters monk. So this Symphyotrichum is a cracking plant. It has very small flower heads on this one. And as you can see, there's a mix of little reds and yellows in the central cone of these. And that's just down to pollination, really. They're all yellow when they start, and then they go into that nice little touch of the red, as you can see in there. That particular one's showing it quite well. And these are quite smaller asters, or Symphyotrichums. And this one's called Little Carlo, so as the name suggests, it gets smaller. Now, the failing of this, and I've had this one many times in gardens, is it really does require a little bit of support from something. And it wouldn't hurt to put that with some support around it, or grow it up through some support. But it will definitely need it. I've never known that to stay up all season. But the flowers, there's just so many flowers on this one. And at this time of year, we need flowers. We're in October, aren't we, at the minute? So we need lots of flowers. And butterflies will visit it when we haven't got as much wind. The bees don't seem to mind. They're like little tanks, these bees. Nothing really worries them. But that is a really, really nice aster or Symphyotrichum, Little Carlo. And while we're here, we'll just sweep across to this one. And this is Aster Monk, and this is a small plant. This is actually a cutting from my main clump. And they're doing well as well. The flowers are just beautiful. I love them. They're like starlight, daisy-like, really, these. And that's what I like. Some of my favourite flowers are daisy-like flowers that I really like. So there you go, there you go. A little talk on the Symphyotrichums that used to be asters and have been reassigned into different categories. So if you're anywhere where you can get hold of some of these types of flowers at this time of year, this is the time to buy them, because you'll see just what you're getting for your money. And some of them flower consistently for quite a long time, and then some are a little bit quicker to go over. But all are good, and all are great for late season perennials. So I'll talk to you on the next one. Ta-da!